Hello there. Today I am going to talk about some programming and some progress that I am making on this algebra software for automatically making animations like this one. All of these animations you're seeing here to solve for x were created automatically. It's just, you start with the equation and then say solve for x, and that's really all it takes. Just fair warning, today is not going to be a high quality video. I'm just kind of trying to get back into the habit of making videos, and so was working on something and thought, why don't I record it? So if you're looking for a high quality video about programming, go somewhere else. This is not going to be very good. It's kind of just for me to get back into the swing of things. But you're welcome to stay if you like, of course. There you go. That whole animation you just saw. Oh yeah, and then I started doing some other bullshit just to play around. Did those things to both sides, did that to both sides, did that just to the left side, and then I said solve for x again. And that one's messed up. It's supposed to be different from that. And there you go. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of works. For some things, it works pretty well, in fact. All right, let me switch now to this mode. Here we are. All right. So here we are in the MF Algebra folder. I want to talk about decorators and wrappers, right? So a wrapper in Python is this function that you do to another function, right? You sort of wrap it in another function to extend the original behavior of that original function. And so you usually put it on a class by doing something like this, where if you have, here, let me cancel out this that I made. This is what I mean. It's not going to be a high quality video. That's okay. So check it out. Let's say you have a base class with a method called YoMama, and YoMama says your ambiguously gendered parent, and if you want to, you can wrap that in either of these things. So you can say YoMama, and then if you want to, you can say is so fat, like that. And what that means in Python is it's gonna do this function, but then outside of that it's gonna do something else. And here's the definition of is so fat. It's gonna get the output of the original function, but then it's gonna instead append is so fat to it, and that's gonna be the new value of that thing. So therefore, then, if I were to make like a let's call it Richard. Richard is going to be a member of that base class. And if I print Richard.YoMama, here's what we'll see. You gotta give it a second for some reason. It says, your ambiguously gendered parent is so fat, right? So notice how Richard's YoMama method only returns your ambiguously gendered parent, but because we gave it this decorator, then it also did that instead, right? If I get rid of the decorator, then it'll have the expected behavior. It'll just say your ambiguously gendered parent, and that's it. Now, sometimes you want to put multiple decorators. Like I could put is lovely and is so fat, like that. And we'll see how that works. It says, your ambiguously gendered parent is so fat, is lovely, right? So it first wrapped the function in that, and then it wrapped the function in that. So the reason I'm playing around with this is because that's what I was doing in my main library. For one thing that it has to do, for example, is like if I have a certain action that says like, like swap the order of something, I can swap the order of the outermost thing, but often I want to swap the order of like some sub-expression. And I don't want to have a special method for every single conceivable subexpression, you know? So instead, I have this wrapper that checks for something called the pre-address, and it basically just, well, I'll just show you. Here it is, actually. So here's the main function that's gonna turn one expression into another, but it's wrapped in all these things. First, it gets the pre-address, and then it gets the sub-expression like for that at that address, and then it does the actual function to that, and then it substitutes that back into the original expression, and there you go. So that way it's able to apply any rule to any pre-address just with this wrapper, right? So I used to do like, let me get to a specific example. Here's the evaluate action. It used to be that any get output expression, it used to be I used to have to do this. I used to have to put that on everything. But then I switched to doing it a different way, because I have just one for that one, but then this one has like 3 or 4 different wrappers that it needed, and there's a lot of different subclasses of actions, so it was just getting ridiculous. So instead, I switched to doing it a different way. That different way is what you see here. Instead, I switched to doing it like this. Now, I am a self-taught programmer. There's a lot of things that I do that might not be the best practice or the most recommended way of doing things. This is only a medium level. You're about to see an even stupider way of doing things, but this is what I've been doing for a while. Is instead of putting decorators on everything, like putting the @ symbol thing on top of all the methods and everything, instead I do it like this. Whenever you make a subclass of action, it decorates them like manually. It says get that function or get that method, wrap it manually like this, and then that's the new definition of that function. And then for the address map, which is another thing that's responsible for like dictating the animation, that needs 3, eventually 4 different wrappers here. So that's no good. That's just getting. Well, it's not that it's no good, but this is fine. This is a fine way of doing it, and now this way I don't have to put the decorators on everything. But what I don't like about this is it can't be modified per subclass. I occasionally want subclasses that don't do this, for example, or don't do this, for example. I occasionally don't want a subclass to have that decorator on it or that wrapper on it. So I was thinking, how can I achieve that? How can I, how can I do that? So that's what I was testing over here. I came up with this. You do it like this. It has like, you give the base class a like a list of decorators to apply, and then in init subclass you just apply all the decorators that are in that list, So now the subclasses. Now, yeah, let me get rid of this and I'll show you. So now the subclasses. Janet here is a member of the child class, and Janet has Yo Mama, which just returns Yo Mama. Oh, yeah, and I didn't give it. Okay, what the base class has the decorator is lovely, right? So that's why Janet returns Yo Mama is lovely, because it runs her Yo Mama method, which just returns Yo Mama, but that was already overwritten with the decorators for her. Now, she doesn't have any decorators in her class, but she has decorators in the parent class, only is lovely, And so when her subclass was initialized, that wrapper got applied to that function, right? So the reason I like that is because I have the option of overwriting that for the child class or for specific child classes. So now when I run it, for Janet it says, yo mama is so fat, right? And I was testing, can you overwrite it after initialization? And the answer is no. But you can overwrite it. Like if I change this to is so fat is lovely, oh, okay, right, yeah, you can't do that. Oh. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's not the way that I thought it was for in just today, like a minute ago. But when I was working on this, that's what I thought. That is how it's supposed to work because that gets set when the decorator, when the subclass, not when, like when the subclass is defined, that's when that is set, and that's when init subclass runs. So that makes sense that it's like that. Does that make sense? Fuck. Okay, so base class has is lovely. The child class has is so fat and is lovely, let's say. That's not going to do anything. Well, these don't do anything. Let me just get rid of all that. And let's see what Jenna and Eugenia do here. There you go. No, that's still not what I expected. God damn it. Oh no. That is what I expected. That makes sense. Okay, my bad. Sorry. This is such a crazy way of doing it, but I like the idea of it, so I'm gonna try to use it. But you see, right. So this never happens for the base class. So that's why Eugenia is your ambiguously gendered parent with no decorators. Even though I gave the base class this decorator is lovely, it doesn't matter because init subclass never runs on the base class, only on the subclasses of it. So then when I do a child class of that, fuck me, dude, I just realized. Well, I guess that wouldn't be capitalized. Well, I guess there's really nothing for me to do there, but now let me say. So what does that do? Okay, good. That low-key doesn't make sense to me, though. Why does that not double up? Yeah, but it's not gonna. But now it's not gonna work if I. All right, so let's say this one has is lovely. This one has is so fat and is lovely, and this one has just is so fat. Alright, Oh, I got a pit stain there. My bad, fellas. This whole idea sucks, then, basically. Well, perhaps you see what I'm going for. Anybody feel free to roast me or tell me what a stupid, ridiculous idea this is, or what a great idea this is, whatever you think. You can see what I'm going for, right? You can see what I'm going for. I need a... so the whole thing doesn't work the way that I thought then. Fuck. Damn it. Right, because it already... But what I'm going for is like a list of decorators, so that way I can say, like on this one, I'm gonna have this, right? These are the wrappers that are gonna get applied in the, and I'm just using decorator and wrapper interchangeably. I think that's correct, but maybe not. But roughly speaking, they're the same thing. Like those need to get applied to those methods, but then like for any subclasses, like let me show you a subclass. Like here, for example, is a subclass of action, right? I wanna say here like address map wrappers equals like whatever, and I can, and normally I wouldn't do that. Normally it would be just the default, and I wouldn't mess with it at all. But if I wish, I can say like for this class and all of its subclasses, you're gonna be different. You're gonna have a different situation. Maybe it should be on new then. Maybe it should be on new and not on a knit subclass. Is that a good idea? Wait a second. Let's think. What if instead of doing this on a knit subclass, we do it on new? What is new not... Oh. Yeah. The fuck, dude? What's the problem with this? Oh. How about that? There you go. That's stupid. Alright, shit, would that work? Let's try it. Let's fucking try it. I think it would. Nah. Hold up, I gotta look up what new even takes. Okay. My bad. Okay, but why... Wait. Well, how about I just don't worry about that for now. None type has no attribute yo mama. Well, that's not. Oh. Okay, right. Then shit, then I want to do it in init. I don't know about this, guys. This does not seem right. Alright, so those of you who know things, what do you think is the best way to have situation where like a method that, okay, so there's a class and a bunch of subclasses and they all need to have this certain method. And that certain method needs to have like a bunch of different decorators on it. I don't want to be putting decorators on every single method of every single subclass because there's dozens and dozens of subclasses and each one is going to have like 3 or 4 different lines of decorators and that just seems crazy. So surely I feel like there's got to be some kind of way that I can put them all on all of them, and there is, and that's the init subclass thing. But it's not quite good enough because I need some way to make it still modifiable for particular subclasses. So does anybody know a real smart, real elegant, real nice way of doing it? Because I don't think I'm finding it here. I low-key thought I was finding it. I knew it was a little crazy. I knew it was a little wild. But it turns out it doesn't work the way that I thought. So it actually is not any good. Let's give it a try, though. Let's see what happens here. All right, that actually fucking works, dog. Huh. Huh. I mean, that makes sense. So basically, we're decorating the instances method, not the whole classes method. That's certainly an idea. What does this guy have on its init? Just a bunch of this shit. Oh yeah, here's another pattern that I'm not so sure about. What do you think of this pattern? You put a bunch of things in the class, like as class attributes, but then you also allow them to be overwritten as instance attributes by saying like that. Is that a good idea? And surely look at how many times I repeated myself there. Like surely there's a way to abstract that like somehow too. I don't know. Is this a good idea? Is this really what I'm doing? Because then I don't have to do the tagging thing at all. I don't know. Let's do it. We're gonna do self.wrap get output expression. Self.wrap get address map. All right. Now, what do I have that for? Turn that off. Modifiers, combinations. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Wrap get output expression. Yeah, this is a good idea, I think. Let's just do what we did here. And now we don't even need this idea. We don't even need to do that. I don't know, bro. I don't know what I'm doing. I genuinely do not know what I'm doing. Func self.get output expression. For deco name in self dot output expression wrappers, decorator is that func equals decorator of func, and then finally self dot get output expression equals func. And then we're going to do the same thing for the address map one. Alright, I guess I should have done it this way. And then this entire thing, we don't need anymore. And let's move this down. I think that makes sense for real. Let's give it a try. Here we go. Oh, really good. My bad. My bad, boo. That'll do it. Let's try that again. So here's the deal. Let me crank this up a little bit so you can see a little better. Whoops, oh my god, what am I doing? Can I make this little smaller? There we go. Alright, so here's our expression that we're looking at here, right? I make a timeline like this. I grab that. It's fucked up, dude. Why is it fucked up? What do you mean? It literally is showing you, you're literally plugging it in right there. So of course it's something to do with the wrapper then. This is stupid, bro. That's going to be it for me, fellas. Hope you enjoyed this extremely shitty video about an amateur dumbass trying to do some dumbass programming and not knowing what they're doing. Hopefully in the next few days. But I'm going to go ahead and hit stop, and I'm going to upload this and everything because I got to get myself back in the groove of uploading videos about Manim, because I have not been doing it, and it's a good thing for me to do for a lot of reasons. So, yep. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day. I will work out a solution to this. You know what? Perhaps the best solution is for me to just shut up about all this excessive bullshit and just put wrappers on every single expression, every single subclass method. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.